All right, a little video. Trench Crusade. If it's not something you're interested in, I will not be angry if you click off and go look at something else. I mean, Dungeon Minister's got some good stuff. Uh, you know, Bear's got some good stuff. There's no end of good stuff. But if you are interested in a little bit of drama involving Trench Crusade, this is, and this is some a reason. If I ever design another game, I would never ever try to court the left wing because, okay, Trench Crusade, for those of you who don't know, is a game set in 1914 where 800 years prior or so, a gate directly leading to hell, the Christian hell, opened up, and Cambian demons and freaking heretic soldiers, etc. A third of the population of the earth or whatever bent the knee and joined hell, and so you've got all kinds of horrible monsters and devilish beings attacking, and the spear point for the Christian side is a city called New Antioch. Called New Antioch because Old Antioch got blown the F up. And of course, there's some wars going on the ocean between the demonic fleets and the fleets of the servants of Christ. All right. So that's the basic thing. Are there other factions? Yes. There's a Muslim faction, and that's it. There's a Muslim faction, Christian factions, which are not all the same, and then the forces of hell, whether it's mortal heretics or half mortal, half demonic monsters. Keeping it kind of simple, but most of you already know the lore anyway. So these guys created this, and I think, overall, yeah, it's a pretty creative kind of thing to come up with. However, how very ever, I have to say this. Somehow or another, on their Discord, because they said you're not allowed to be political on their Discord, and their game supports the LGBTQ plus agenda or whatever. Now, first off, the fact that they said they support LGBTQ, that's a political statement. Secondly, if you're playing in a game where God is literally real, Jesus is literally a known fact, and there are demons running around the Middle East just destroying stuff all over the place, right? If you lived in that world, would you be gay? Because it seems to me like that would be just a number one first class ticket directly to damnation. Because the Bible is very clear on its stance with same sex whatever. And I'm not even here judging. I'm just telling you this is what the Bible says. So trench pilgrims and various other religious zealots would probably want to pray the gay away at the bare minimum, if they found out about your proclivities. And for those of you who wonder what the deal is with Christianity and homosexuality, it's because it's not the sex, first off. Because all sex outside of, and this is my understanding as like just a guy, all sex outside of marriage is considered a sin. It's the fact that, it's basically breaking the law of God. So, God has said this is the rules, and people have said we're not going to follow these rules. We're going to do our own thing. And so God says, well, in order for me to be a just God, I have to punish those who commit sin. And that includes other types of crime, right? So, I mean, if you're in real life and you're LGBT and you're playing Trench Crusade, uh, one, if you're playing the Christian side, you're messed up because uh, that side believes you're probably going to go to hell if you don't repent and stop with all of your depraved sex, which is not about starting a family or, you know, bringing life into the world. It's just, I want to do this thing because it feels good to me to do this thing. And that's not a good excuse, religiously speaking. So there you go, right? So if you are LGBT and you're going to sit down and make a Trench Crusade army that's, pilgrims or New Antioch, uh, you're pretty much playing the side that would not want you on their side, right? However, a court of the seven-headed demon army devoted to lust, that's going to be right up your alley. You know what I mean? Because, that's basically what you're doing. Just as if you were a super lecherous person, uh, yeah, you might want to go with lust. If you're a really greedy, miserly person, of course, you're going to go with, whatever. If you're a communist, you'll go with envy, etc. So if I haven't lost you yet, here is the thing. This is the rub, right? On their Discord, and I got this from Arch, and he had the receipts. So, I read the stuff. I read it. I read the post. One of the people that the creators of Trench Crusade apparently wants to be their player base literally made a post asking if the Trench Crusade team could make a secular communist sect for New Antioch. Now, think about this. First off, communism in and of itself is evil. It was created by a Satanist, and it's a political philosophy that is just 100% based on envy. That's all it is. It's all envy. You're mad because someone else is doing better than you are. And rather than accept that maybe it's because you suck, you are going to buy into the idea that they did something evil somehow in order that they own property, but you don't own property. And then you're going to dehumanize them and murder them. So, yeah, communism definitely affiliated with the hell side. And secular, you're saying you want to be able to play a group of Trench Crusaders, but they're atheists, even though for a fact God exists. And this is the kind of monkey shines that's going on their Discord. And then people wonder, like, why, certain people kind of give them shit. And it's because they're idiots. The creators of Trench Crusade while they may have created a game that I find interesting, are personally idiots. Because why would you create a game all about the war between heaven and hell and then try to appeal to people that, according to the Christian faith, are destined for hell, and then have people on your webpage asking you to allow them to play a faction that doesn't believe in heaven or hell in a game that is entirely devoted to the war between heaven and hell. So, again, while the game is interesting, the setting is interesting, etc., it's pretty obvious that the creators are by and large idiots, and that the people they are trying to court to play their game are at best stupid and at worst just evil, right? I mean, can you imagine what must have been going through the person's mind as he was writing that request? You know, like, hey, if it's not too much trouble in your game that is entirely about the forces of heaven and the forces of hell fighting a massive war, for Earth, could I please play the atheists? And also, even though it's 1914 and Imperial Russia would still exist, absolutely. Can I please be communists? See, if I were the creator of the game or the community person who responded to stuff like that, I would have told the guy, absolutely. It's called the seven-headed serpent. You can make yourself a army devoted to the forces of hell, maybe some heretics, and paint them up like commies or something, and go on with your bad self. Maybe that's part of your demon lord's tactics for damning humanity, or as many humans as they can, is to try to convince people that hell doesn't actually really exist. Maybe you can come up with some scientific things like those aren't actually demons, they're aliens from another dimension. So, don't worry about it. That's not actually God talking. That's, it's all a big lie. I mean, maybe that's the thing you want to do. Maybe. But the fact of the matter is, it places you firmly on the side of hell. And so reading these things, these comments that these people make are just absolutely hilarious to me, because you're just kind of like, really? So that's what I was thinking about. It's like a guy on the Trench Crusade Discord literally is so stupid that they asked for a communist atheist branch affiliated with New Antioch, which is like, one of the big, good guy Christian groups. And I bet you that guy didn't get banned, and no one talked any smack to him or called him a retard or any of the things that should have happened. They probably just let him go on with himself instead of saying, are you retarded? See, because that's what they should have done. They should have been like, are you retarded? I mean, it's like, I appreciate that you enjoy the game, whatever, but are you retarded? Do you just not understand what's going on here? You know? And that's what's funny is seeing people, and I do think it's funny, seeing people who are actively anti-Christian trying to justify playing a game where the Christians are definitively the good guys and they're fighting against the literal forces of hell, which are completely horrible demonic entities that, you know, kill, torture, and eat people. And yet you've got the anti-Christians trying to, in some way, justify being a part of this, as if, I just can't say any more than I've already said, really. It's like, do you not understand the game? Do you just not understand what we're talking about here? We're talking about the literal, I have to keep saying that in case somebody, you know, is so stupid they can't understand. We are talking about the literal forces of hell fighting the literal forces of heaven, and there being no doubt about the existence and power of either side. And yet, some idiot wants to play an atheist. It's almost as stupid as when you run into one of these idiots and they want to play an atheist in like Dungeons and Dragons. And you're like, wait, what? Why would you want to play an atheist in Dungeons and Dragons? And of course, Pathfinder allowed it. It's like, you know, for a fact the gods exist. So at the best, I guess you could argue that your character is just not a believer, but that doesn't make you an atheist. It just makes you stupid, you know, because you're trying to argue that you're literally trying to argue that things that you can see with your own eyes don't exist, you know. It's like, okay, this guy just cast a cure light wound spell and was granted that power by his deity, but you want to play a character that does not believe that that's possible. See, that kind of person needs to just be thrown out of the game because they're too stupid to play a game. Like, if you're an atheist in real life, okay, all right. I mean, I think you'll burn in hell, but okay, do your thing. But why are you trying to bring it into a role-playing game where deities are a known entity? And then if you're an atheist in real life, but you want to play Trench Command, all right, or Trench Crusade, sounds great. You've got the different war bands from the seven-headed serpent. You've got the various war bands from the heretics. You've got the war bands from the Black Grail. Knock yourself out, right? Because you are fighting for the forces of hell in real life. And therefore, in my opinion, you may as well do it in the game too, right? As opposed to asking the creators of the game to make a communist atheist. I mean, leftists are like just so. I think the reason I could never be left anymore, like I was when I was young, is the absolute fact that nothing they believe has any consistency. There is no consistency amongst the left. And I think that's the main thing that turns me off. Anyway, that's a video. Peace and love, guys. God bless, and good gaming.